This is the MBA Wire, episode 21. Favorite movie of all time. Wow, that's a tough one. Pitch Perfect. I don't know. Anna Kendrick just does it for me. Don't tell my wife.
Inspirational MBA talk with successful alumni to motivate you during your application run. We go behind the scenes of every story, talk business, and show you why it's worthwhile to never give up on your MBA dream. And now, here's your host with the most, Mateo Chang.
What's up, citizens of the Wire? Welcome back to yet another episode of the MBA Wire. I am so grateful for having you guys here once again. Today, I have with me an amazing guest coming out of Kuwait. His name is Prashanth Chandrasekhar, and he has been accepted to INSEAD for the 2015 course, right? And he works in an investment management firm, but he has a consulting background, about 4 years in the consulting business. And he teaches for certain financial certifications. Prash, I've given our listeners a brief introduction about you. Why don't you go ahead and add something there personal so that they can get to know you a little bit better?
Sure thing. Thank you, Matthew. I graduated from the University of Texas in 2007. I consequently was working in Houston in the mortgage industry. So, I had a small part to play in bringing the economy down. I subsequently moved to Bombay to join KPMG, where I worked for a little over 2 years. One of my colleagues from KPMG pulled me through to Protiviti Kuwait, and that's how I got to Kuwait about 3 years ago. After a year into Protiviti, one of my clients made an offer to Protiviti to hire me as a permanent employee, and that's how I got into my investment management firm. So what happened from a holistic perspective is I got exposure to 3 different countries. I got through my consulting experience, I was exposed to a lot of different industries, and I feel like I was able to develop a macro perspective of the financial services industry. And I think that helped with trying to bring out my story.
Yes, yes. Now, how about anything like a hobby? What do you guys do for fun over there in Kuwait?
Well, the weather can get really hot in the summers.
Yeah.
So I'm actually the president of the Kuwait Cycling Club. So we during from May to, let's say, August or September, we have to bike late nights. But apart from that, the rest of the year it's pretty pleasant. So we do a lot of cycling about 8 months a year.
Wow.
That apart, I am quite heavily involved in my teaching activities. I teach for the CFA curriculum, the CFA program. I teach for the CMA as well. I used to teach for the FRM until I got onto the panel that helps set the exam for the FRM program as well.
Nice. Cycling in Kuwait, CFA and CMA. It sounds like you have a very strong finance background. Was that what you graduated in?
I actually graduated international business with concentration in French.
Concentration in French?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're fluent.
The thing is, I haven't really used French for the last 7-8 years, but I'm hoping that once I get to France, I get to pick it up again.
Nice. That fits in really nice right there. Then you can definitely polish up on your French while you're there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Well, Prash, thank you for that introduction, and thank you for being here. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to hear your story. Usually, before we begin with the questions, we like to start off with a motivational quote. Do you have a motivational quote that you live by, and you can tell us a story from your own experience as an example?
Well, during the course of my MBA applications, I did make a lot of mistakes, but the key factor for me that I'd like to tell your listeners is persistence is key, and it certainly helped me through my process. I have been applying to colleges right since I graduated. I know I've sent out north of 30 applications since I graduated, and like I said, persistence is key.
30 applications?
Yeah, north of 30 for sure.
North of 30. So how did that go? It was 30 all at once, or just.
So I applied for 30. I applied to 15 colleges right out of college, and I applied to mostly colleges within the top 20, 25 rankings. And because of the fact that I didn't really have any post graduation work experience, that went against me.
Uh-huh.
I applied a couple of years later to about six or seven, or maybe a little more. This was, yeah, 2 years after graduation, and I still didn't have any managerial experience. I still was applying to the top colleges. And this time around, I applied to a bunch of colleges as well. But INSEAD was my number one choice, and I luckily managed to get through.
Nice. Okay, we'll get to that question too. I want to know later why INSEAD was your number one choice. But before we start, before we talk about that, I want to talk about before, this last couple of years, this last application run that you did, or how about all of your application process, the entire north of 30 times that you applied. What was the hardest part of that for you, and how did you deal with it?
So in hindsight, when I look at it, I realized that I made a lot of mistakes. For one, I overvalued my academics. I overvalued my pre-MBA work experience. I also made a mistake. The second time I applied, the second batch of applications, I made a mistake in that I wasn't authentic with my story. I tried to build my applications around what I thought the admissions committee wanted to hear, and I guess that kind of reflected in my applications because there was a mismatch between what I'd done and what I was planning on doing, and there was a lack of authenticity. Now, when I go back and read my essays, I can clearly see that.
What were some of the biggest flags there? I mean, that the red flags there that told you this.
See, the primary thing was there was a major mismatch between what I had done in my past and what I was planning on doing. There was no correlation between the two, and there was nothing to suggest that I would be motivated and successful in changing careers.
Okay. And then also the bridge of that MBA being that key, the key factor for your pivot.
Yes.
Were you able to show that how important that MBA would be, or was that kind of shaky as well?
So that was my strategy. I was trying to show that I could use an MBA to change careers, but this was a dynamic shift. I was actually trying to move into social entrepreneurship, but I had no experience whatsoever. I had no community service. I had no experiences showing that this was something I was genuinely interested in, and I think my essays weren't strong enough to show that. This was something that I was genuinely passionate about and something that I really wanted to drive through. Again, I think going through my essays, it feels like I'm trying to give the admissions committee what they want.
Okay, so what did you change this time around then?
Well, I actually went through a lengthy process of introspection. I tried to see what it was that I really wanted in the long run, and I realized that I love finance. So I just brought that out in my essays. I just brought out my genuine passions. I just brought out what I genuinely wanted from an MBA, and I did a lot more research about colleges and try to see how they could specifically help me. And I try to bring this out in my essays, and I think the colleges saw that, and I think that's why it worked out this time.
That is one of the key things that many of the admissions officers and admissions deans are looking for is authenticity. Applicants who are very genuine with their goals, with their passions. They really want to see who you truly are, and if they do realize that you're trying to sell them something that doesn't seem right, there's a possibility of them raising questions, raising doubts there. Why was INSEAD your top choice?
I applied to 6 colleges this time around. INSEAD was my primary choice for multiple reasons. So I lived in the States for 6 years, and I thought. I've never lived in Europe before, so that was a major motivating factor. Second, INSEAD is the only top college which which is 10 months. Every other program is longer, and so I can essentially graduate and hit the workforce sooner, and get towards accomplishing my goals a lot faster with INSEAD. Another thing is INSEAD is one of the best. In my opinion, it's the best college in the world if you have a consulting goal. And given my background and given my goals, I think INSEAD just fit in seamlessly.
Ah, I see. So INSEAD is they have their strength is in consulting. Is that it?
Yes, they have a strength in consulting, and the way they structure their MBA, the you know the things that they look for in their candidates, I feel like things like international diversity, cultural experiences. These were things that I had a lot of because I've lived in four countries, and I've had a lot of experiences. So I felt like if I could successfully bring this out in my application, I would have a really good chance at NCA.
Yes. And INSEAD is definitely a very international school. I mean, it's one of the most international schools.
Yeah.
It's right at the center of, this is right at the center of the two huge markets right next door. The United States and Asia. So it's right there in the middle.
Right.
I just kind of want to jump back here. During your application, while you were doing your application, so this last year or year and a half while you were applying, I was wondering, were you applying on your own, or did you have like some consulting offices that helped you, or did you have a coach?
No, I did not. I worked on my own.
Interesting. How tough was that for you? I mean, it sounds like you had to learn as you went along.
Yes.
Learn from mistakes, right?
That's true. I feel like maybe I could have avoided some of those mistakes, but I feel like the reason I was able to the reason I was successful this time was because I put in a lot of effort, a lot of time into researching what was out there, and there's a lot of information on the internet. There are newsletters that a lot of consultants let you sign up for. There's a lot of information that you get from websites like GMAT Club. So I was able to spend a lot of time researching and trying to understand, what it took to get into a top school. And I think I was able to successfully bring that out in my application.
That is true. There is so many resources online. GMAT Club is one of my favorites as well. Beat the GMAT. You have Clear Admit. I mean, you got so many different places to go to get information. Now, you told me that you spent a lot of time, and yes, there is a huge chunk of effort that goes into this. How did you manage your time during this? Because I mean, you're working, you have social life, and then you have this MBA application process. How did that affect your time management?
Well, time is always going to be an issue, but at the end of the day, it's about your priorities. You have to prioritize what is important to you, and getting into a top school was a high priority thing for me. And if you're a little low on motivation, I guess consultants can also help you with streamlining and creating timelines for you. But because I was really high on motivation, I think I was able to prioritize this and make time for it as and when required.
Make time for it. Yeah, you actually made the conscious effort of making time for it, and that is definitely one of the key, most important things that is required. I get so many students who don't have time. They've got things they have to do, and then it's usually social events. It depends on your priorities. I agree with you that.
One thing that can help you be motivated throughout the process is focusing on the end goal. If you think about how happy you'll be when you get into a college, or how well your career will take off after having graduated from a top 10 or a top college, that'll help you remain motivated in the process.
Stay focused on the main on the final product, the final result.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's, I think, one of the problems with that one, and I just kind of wanted to dig a little deeper here, is this. I get the feeling that a lot of times students, when they're looking at the final result, a lot of them don't know what the final result is because they've never been through that experience of being at the MBA. How did that work out for you?
Well, while I was going through my previous applications, I spent a lot of time on GMAT Club. And if you follow a particular college admission cycle, through the cycle, you're going to see a lot of very, very happy posts. You're going to see a lot of people who are ecstatic at their admissions. So that kind of gives you a sense of how happy people are when they get through. I've also been trying to network with people and see where they are. A lot of college admits are very, very forthcoming and very, very willing to help you if they know that you're applying to their colleges. So I contacted people through LinkedIn, and I've had a very good time with a lot of these alumni who've helped me tell me about their processes, about how they went through the program. And I'm sure candidates can derive a lot from the MBA wire as well, listening to these podcasts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is I'm here to help, trying to motivate and get some stories out. But thank you for that. Now, what you made me lose my spot there. That's cool. No, but what tips and advice do you think can you give to our listeners to help them through those difficult moments during their process? I mean, yes, okay. One is to have that focus on the end result, but sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes it seems like there are moments where you need that extra push, or get that drive going, get that motivation back up again. And it sounds like you have done that very well by applying on your own and having this discipline to go through it. What else is there? I mean, what other secret ingredients are there to successfully getting through difficult moments?
I think another very, very good thing to do would be to have to structure your application process with internal deadlines for yourself. Obviously, they have to be achievable, and they have to be you basically document target dates for you to complete certain processes within your application, and try to stick to those. Having deadlines will help you, I guess, be more organized. Will help you stay committed to the path.
Stay committed to the path. Stay committed to the path and keep your eyes on the final result. That's nice. Now, after following through a school's application cycle and seeing so many people be ecstatic about their acceptance, how was it for you when you got accepted?
Oh, it was incredible. Yeah. It was a very good feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I was supported by my family throughout. I mean, they've been on through the roller coaster journey with me. So, it was very. I was relieved. My family was happy. My friends, they know what I've been going through over the last few years. So it was just an incredible week. In fact, I'm still in celebration mode.
You're still in celebration mode?
Yeah, 2 months later.
Nice. No, I guess what was the first thing that went through your mind then when you got accepted?
The first thing that went to mind was that I was just glad the process was over, because the process is a little arduous. It can get to you after a certain point of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just happy that was over.
So you were just relieved. It's just, you got it off your back, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now though, I mean, in one of my episodes, I talked to a girl who was accepted to Chicago Booth, and we talk about post-acceptance challenges. Because, yes, you got accepted, you're celebrating, that's awesome, but then now you're having to go through a lot of other stuff after you've been accepted, preparing to go to your MBA program. What are you going through right now?
So like you said, once you get accepted, you are in cloud 9. But then when you come back, to the level ground, you realize that there's a lot of work to be done, especially if you're an international student.
Yes.
You have to arrange for accommodation. You have to arrange for your visas. You have to figure a lot of stuff out before you get there. With INSEAD, there's also the matter of which campus you want to choose. Because there's so many options out there. You have to basically research and know exactly what you want to do, when you want to do. And then there's also the matters of accommodation, visas, who you want to room with, what your budget is. Do you want to rent a car? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to ship a bike to campus? So there's a lot of work to be done. And in today's world, where you have access to social media, it helps because you can network with your prospective or with your future classmates.
Yes.
So I was lucky enough to be one of the first few to find out on GMAT Club that I'd gotten into INSEAD. So I actually initiated a WhatsApp group. A friend of mine initiated a Facebook group. So we were able to stay in touch, or at least get through to a lot of other admits. And over the last couple of months, I've been networking with a lot of INSEAD admits. We've been going through this process together, and it helps. It helps when you have different perspectives. It helps when you have different people that you can contact just to get a perspective on things. So firstly, like when you're going through visas, there'll always be someone who knows the process that you can that you can touch base with to find out more. When you're looking at post-graduation options. For example, I was looking at Spain as a prospective option for me to move to after graduation, and I could talk to candidates or admitted students who are actually working in Spain or who are from Spain. So networking really helps you with these kind of things.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think that's the essence of the international network. I mean, you have just this amazing tool at the tip of your fingers. And yes, and today with social media, you have WhatsApp and Facebook, and you can have instant access to information that you wouldn't have had maybe 10 years ago. So, but how about for you then? Have you found accommodation already?
I'm on the verge of finalizing it.
Okay, so are you gonna be Are you gonna be living alone or with roommates?
No, I'm getting an apartment to myself. It's about 2.5 kilometers away from campus. I've decided to buy my own car, and I'm also going to ship my bike to campus because I've gotten attached to it. I don't have the heart to let go of it.
Ah, so because you're the president of the cycling club there.
Right.
Yeah, and then your bike is everything to you. But you wouldn't even consider buying a new one there. You're taking the one you have now with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Biking is actually starting to get big in Sao Paulo as well. You know, they got these cycling lanes. The infrastructure here is not as well planned out as in other countries, but you take a look at some of these bicycles and they're decked out, man. These bicycles are just amazing.
Yes, that's true, and some of them can be really expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of prices, like absurd prices of up to $11,000-$12,000. Is that right?
Yes, it's yes. You could find bikes in that range as well.
Why wouldn't you just buy like a motorcycle?
Well, here's the thing. Like motorcycles and cars, they run on petrol and they cost you money.
Oh.
Versus bikes, they run on you. You're more healthy and it saves you money.
That's true. That's a definitely good way to look at it. I'm actually going to consider buying a bicycle, but not a $12,000 bicycle, man. That's what makes a $12,000 bicycle $12,000? I mean, what makes it worth it?
There are a lot of things. I think the material that's used to build the bike, which determines how sturdy it is and how light it is. There are a lot of carbon fiber bikes, which are extremely light. You could actually pick it up with a finger.
Wow.
And the lighter the bikes are, the way it's built determines how fast you can go.
Wait, with the carbon fiber frame, when you say you can pick it up with the finger, is that including the tires or no?
It's everything,
Wow.
all of it.
Wow.
So yeah, and these bikes, they move really fast. Of course, that's assuming that you have the athletic ability to move with it.
How fast can you go on your cycle?
Like sustainable, probably about 30 kilometers an hour. That's something I could sustain.
Yeah.
Anything above that, I would be able to sustain for a long period of time.
Huh. Interesting.
But if you watch like the Tour de France and these kind of professional biking events, you see these guys biking at like 45 kilometers an hour consistently throughout the race, and that's just incredible endurance.
That is. I've seen pictures of like their muscular structure of their legs, like their thighs and their calves, and that's just out of this world, man. It's
insane, man.
It is. It's insane. I think the last time I rode a bicycle was when I was in elementary school. And then after a friend and I kind of ran into a wall. Yeah, we were going downhill way too fast. Two people on the same bike and not enough brakes. And we hit a wall. So after that, I kind of gave up on cycling. But maybe I'll get back into it. That sounds kind of interesting. I like the way you put it, how cars and motorcycles use petrol and you use money.
Yeah.
And for cycling, you use up your own energy, and it's good for your health. Now, do you plan on joining some kind of cycling club at INSEAD?
Possibly. I'll figure it out once I get there. I haven't thought about it. It'll be great to do that. But I think the weather is also going to play a major part because from what I understand, France is going to be really cold, and I've never lived in a cold place before. So I'm going to get there, try to feel my feet first, and then decide what to do. But I think a bike is going to be very useful on campus, especially because it's going to help me beat the traffic, get from point A to point B faster, especially if you're not too far from campus, and it's going to help me commuting when I'm too drunk to drive home.
Ha ha. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Don't drink and drive. But wait, so why would you buy a car then if you're just gonna say why wouldn't you just
Well,
cycle all over the place? Sorry.
the France campus for INSEAD is in Fontainebleau. So I'm assuming that we'd have a lot of weekends that we decide to drive down to Paris, or one of the neighboring towns. So I feel like having a car will help with that. Also, if you have long weekends or if you have breaks between periods, we might just decide to drive to another country. So I have the flexibility to do whatever I choose.
That's true. And it's gonna be funny because you're coming from a place where, like you said, it's just Kuwait, where it gets so hot you have to cycle in the late hours of the night, and you're going to Fontainebleau where it gets cold at certain points of the year. You're going to a completely different extreme.
Exactly, and I've never lived in the coldest place I've ever lived in is Texas, which is it's not really, so
It's
gonna be
not cold at all there. So Kuwait is hotter than Texas.
Yes, most definitely. I mean, I think it's 55 degrees right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? 55 degrees right now, and it's late in the night, right?
No, it's I think
Oh, it's afternoon, 4 p.m. or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I actually, back in college, I went to a 4th of July weekend party over in Lake Havasu, and I kid you not, the temperatures there reached 52 degrees. If you're saying you're at 55 degrees, I can only imagine how strong your air conditioning needs to be.
Yeah, I mean everything around here it has to be air conditioned. I mean you when you're traveling to work as well. I mean you're leaving your air conditioned apartment, getting into your air conditioned car. You get to your air conditioned office. You're spending pretty much all your time within air conditioned. Even at night, it's like north of 40.
Even at night, it's north of 40.
Right.
Nice. Sounds like my kind of place not to be. I would not want to be in that kind of heat. But anyway, we're getting back to the story. What are you extremely excited about as far as your MBA experience? I mean, what are your expectations?
The thing that excites me the most is the quality of people I'm going to be surrounded by. So because of the WhatsApp group, I have interacted with, I'm sure I've interacted with at least 60% of the admitted students so far. And the quality of people is incredible. Their experiences, their backgrounds, I think these guys represent like so many different backgrounds, and the work they've done, it's so diverse, and it's all quality work. Everyone who's come in has an incredible story to tell, and that's what excites me the most.
The diversity.
The diversity of experiences, the diversity of ethnicities, and it's all high quality experiences that they've had.
Nice. Let me just try to get something straight in my mind. So your future goals is going to be going back to consulting. Is that it?
I am leaning towards consulting because that's my background. I was into risk consulting, but I'm thinking of moving to strategy consulting. But then again, I'm trying to make a conscious effort to enter INSEAD with an open mind and try to explore what opportunities I have. I wouldn't be averse to starting something on my own if I can come up with a good idea.
Nice. Yeah, no, because that's why, I mean, like the whole international diversity, I was thinking about the setup of INSEAD, how the whole setup of international diversity, the cultures and the experiences help out with consultants for their future goals.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like there are a couple of things for me. For me, I know that I'm going to be working in a different market after graduation. So for one, I'm able to talk to people who have actually come from those markets, who have actually done consulting in those markets. So it gives me a very good idea of what the work culture is like there, and what the expectations are, or what my expectations can be when I move to that particular market. Also, I feel like given the fact that these guys have had all these experiences, I feel like I can leverage upon that as well to kind of prepare myself better. Things like consulting interviews that you have to give before you get into these firms. I'm sure there are people who've already worked in these organizations who can help me through the process.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, even the alumni network that you can have at the tip of your fingers is going to help you. What else are you excited about?
INSEAD is an incredible party school. I know there's going to be a lot of social activity. I know
Yeah.
there's and the group of people. They're just an incredible group of people, and I haven't even met most of these people yet, and I'm already so excited about it.
Huh.
We have
Nice.
there's a bunch of guys who have already started planning for New Year's, which is before college starts. We're going to be doing New Year's in Amsterdam. Um,
Oh,
December,
nice.
December of this year, I'm planning for a trip to Goa. There are going to be about 25 of us who are going to fly down to Goa and do a long weekend there.
Wow.
The trip is already so dynamic. It's already so social, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, this sounds very social actually, because I was talking to some other INSEAD students, and it just seems like this. Every INSEAD student that I've spoken with are just very energetic, man. I don't know why. It's just you guys have an energy about you that's just like, yeah, let's go do everything and let's do it all together.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. I think you hit it right on the nail. I mean, INSEAD is a very social school, and I think that's interesting that you're gonna spend New Year's in Amsterdam. That's so cool.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. Amsterdam is on one of my top places to visit before I die on my list. So, who knows? Next year I'll probably try to go
You can
by it.
join
That
us for a New Year trip.
Yes, that could be definitely a destination for my Europe trip. So, I have a question here that's kind of quirky. If you had a time machine and you can go back to when you were applying, what would you have said to yourself? Like, what would you have done differently, or what wouldn't you have changed, and why?
Like I said before, like I would tell myself to keep it as authentic as possible, try to keep it as close to reality as possible, and not try to put myself in someone else's shoes, not try to do what I think might please the admissions committee, because at the end of the day, you have a unique story to tell, and the manner in which you bring out your own story is most important, because it's going to be your own voice, it's going to be your own unique story, it's going to come out as more authentic if it's truly you.
That is true. That is true, and that's nice. I was kind of curious. How was your interview process with the INSEAD? What was it like? Did you have it in Kuwait, or was it online?
So INSEAD conducts two interviews, which are both alumni driven.
Yes.
So both of my interviews were in Kuwait. Both of my interviews were about 20 to 25 minutes. They were very laid back, very conversational. Both of my interviewers were extremely nice. They were actually quite supportive. At the end of my first interview, my interviewer was giving me tips on how to position myself after graduation to attain the most out of my INSEAD MBA.
Oh.
My second interviewer offered to take me to INSEAD and Harvard parties in Kuwait. So, both interviews were exceedingly cordial. They were very, very receptive, and the overall process was actually quite was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds very pleasant.
It was incredibly pleasant. It was a lot better than what it was nothing like what I expected.
Yeah, no, that's pretty nice. Now, how many students have been accepted at Kuwait? How many of your prospects are from the same area?
There are two of us from Kuwait who are going to INSEAD.
Nice. Have you met him already, or her?
Yes, I knew him even I knew him even before he got through. He got through last week in round 2.
Uh-huh.
We had a small get together here in INSEAD with the alumni, and that's where I met him.
Oh, nice. You have another peer going there with you. And when are you leaving this? You're leaving in November, December?
So I'll be leaving Kuwait first week of December, moving back to Bombay to spend a month with my friends and family. That's when the Goa trip happens. Towards the end of the month, I think on the 28th is when I'm flying to Paris. On the 29th we go to the Netherlands. New Year's is on the New Year's is in Amsterdam, and we come back on the 2nd just in time for the exemption exam.
Wow, that sounds like a heavy, intense week.
Yeah, I think the entire month of December is going to be intense.
Yes, I think so. Well, Prash, I just want to thank you so much for making your time available for us. And I appreciate your story, and I appreciate, and I just, I would love to just sit here and ask you maybe about 30 more questions, but obviously for time limitations, we can't do that. I really hope that I can, get to finally meet you guys next year if I do go by INSEAD. And, I can assure you that somewhere in the world, somebody has been motivated by your story, especially after your north of 30 application attempts and you finally making it. That is definitely something that will help people who are on the verge of giving up. Why don't you take this final moment, give a shout out to anyone you'd like, or to your school prospects, and then also let our listeners know how they can contact you should they have any questions.
I'm super excited to be going to INSEAD next year. The people that I've spoken to have all been high energy, and I'm really looking forward to the next year. And I'm glad I could be here, and I'd be really happy if I can be of assistance to any of your listeners. They can email me at any point of time at pasha@gmail.com, or just contact me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to help in any way.
Thank you. Yeah, listeners, I will have Prash's email link and LinkedIn link on the website when I release this interview. And Prash, man, thank you again so much. Anything you need from me, if you'd like, just go ahead and hit me up with an email too, and then we can talk, and then set something up next year. But if I don't speak to you till then, I hope everything goes smoothly. This whole transition goes smoothly, and then I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Matthew. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm happy to be of assistance.
Thanks. Well, listeners, there you have it. One more happy student on his way to INSEAD, to his school of choice. Thanks for listening in to this episode of the MBA Wire. This is Mateo Cheng, your host, signing off. Catch you next week, guys. Take it easy.
Thanks for tuning into the MBA Wire. Would you like to know more? Visit us online at thembawire.com today and leave your questions and feedback. While you're there, sign up for an exclusive free audio series to help you strengthen your MBA interview. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the MBA Wire.